Welcome to the Student Voice on Air, a radio show written, hosted, edited, and produced by journalism and FTVM students at Moorpark College. The focus is on current news and issues, along with informative interviews. I'm your host, Steven Suarez, and on this week's edition, we will be featuring Leslie Kivett, Casey Ahern, Francisco Molina, and Andrew Mason. You're listening to 101.5 KMCJ Moorpark College Jams. This is our last show.
Oh my God.
Of the semester.
No.
Of the semester.
Oh,
But let's go ahead. Let's get started with Leslie and Campus News.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the last show, as Stephen said. How you all feeling today?
Good. Final countdown.
The final.
I know Andrew's going to miss making those outlines for us every week.
Me and Son are going to just miss.
His half.
Do you just
Oh
do
my
that on
gosh.
your own time, or is that?
Yes, it's me and Son in there.
So that new
That
voice.
means you love it.
So that
That
new
means you love
voice.
it.
That new voice you're hearing.
Sorry.
Is Angie Hoover, tutor at the Writing Center. Specifically, what kind of tutor?
I'm a writing tutor.
But you're a special kind of tutor.
That's right. I'm a course-embedded tutor
Okay.
as well as a tutor just for appointments.
We'll get to that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But we have her on the show today to talk about preparing for finals. We just wanted to start the show with this, make sure everyone's out there getting ready for their upcoming very stressful week. So tell us about your special kind of tutoring, how long you've been here.
Okay, well, I've been working at Moorpark since I went to school here, which I don't anymore.
Oh, no, you just can't leave.
Hey, you know what? I do
That's
kind of.
the
I love
trap.
it
That's
here.
the
There's no
Look
getting
what I'm
out.
getting to do. This is so cool. I'm getting paid right now. You know.
Hey.
So
I'm not getting paid anymore.
Yeah, that
you're
makes
getting paid
one of
in
us.
personal satisfaction. Is
I've
what
had
you're
quite
getting
enough.
paid
I'd
in.
like to leave now.
Actual money. But I've been here for about 6 years. So I started as just a writing tutor where I would take appointments in the writing center, and we help students through any stage in the writing process. So they can come in with just a prompt, or they can come in with a finished essay, and we'll kind of help them work it out. Cool. But now I do what's called course-embedded tutoring, where I work with a basic skills class, or sometimes I am sent to different courses across disciplines, like a theater class or a film class or a sociology class, and I go into the classroom and I do about an hour or an hour and a half workshops on special topics such as study skills, as we're talking about today,
Exactly. That's what we're doing today.
or timed writing, research papers, things like that.
Well, there's certainly going to be a lot of writing assignments coming up in the next 2 weeks for students, which I know makes a lot of people
100%.
nervous.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a writer, so like that
Are
sort
you?
of stuff. Yeah. Like
What kind of stuff do you write?
I'm a journalism major.
Oh,
so
okay. Doesn't make sense. So you write all the
so
time.
I write all the time.
Right.
But I do it all the time, but maybe not everyone in here does, and maybe not everyone listening does.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some tips to really keep people focused on writing their research papers? I have a lot of friends who message me. I have a lot of friends, but I'm so cool. Who message me during finals time and say, like, I've got this 10-page paper. And
Right.
I've written 2 pages of it, and now I just want to lay down in a ditch and die. Like, how do you stay committed to that sort of large project?
First, know that we all want to lay down in a ditch and die once we've got the
Just
first
all
2
the
pages
time,
done.
in general.
But I would say for most people with research papers, the most intimidating thing is the length. And I think that a way to do it, the way that I do it and the way we teach at the Writing Center, is to begin with, have a working thesis. Don't decide what your idea is before you've done any research because, you don't know what you're talking about
Right.
yet. So do create that thesis, and then after that, it's time to take notes on research. Start doing your research and let that fuel your ideas.
Yeah.
So
in journalism, that's a lot. Part of what I do is I get the topic, and if it's something like if it's an event coverage, then I just go. But if it's something I have to research, once I have the topic, I do all the research first. Because
Right.
That informs everything you're going to have. You can't write
Exactly.
something you don't know anything about.
right, and you let it inspire your argument
Yeah.
as well. Not, obviously you don't want to copy what you are reading or taking notes on.
But you need input for output.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with that. You need to be interpreting different information and different sources, perspectives of whatever your topic is, so that you can form a very strong and deep argument about it on your own.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that helps fuel the length. I say look at your research, take quotations. Beneath the quotations, write your own commentary, and then over time, after you look at all of your sources, you will have developed a document that has a bunch of different quotations and your commentary that you can kind of organize into an outline, and you've kind of already got the content of
You
your paper.
basically just told everyone listening how to write a journal article.
Yeah, right.
So, what are some other basic tips for keeping people focused, I guess?
Focus. I would say one thing that's interesting, and like as I was devising the study skills workshops that I've been doing, that's kind of a new thing for me. I was like doing some research on what's best for studying and keeping
So let's focus
focus.
on that. What are just some study skills then?
So one of the best things that you can do when you have information, like first we have to learn the information, so that's one step, but we're talking more about studying the information once you already have it, which is creating activities that are going to allow you to interact with the information in as many ways as possible.
Oh, okay.
So if you have, say, vocabulary words that you need to, I don't want to say memorize because that doesn't really show any real learning, but that you need to study, it's good to look at those words in different locations. It's good to maybe find visuals for each of those words, cut them out, put them on a board. It's good to anything you can do as well to impose order or logic onto the concepts you're studying.
Contextualizing
is
them.
very good. Right. So like if you have different ideas that you're studying for, say, history, if you put those into a timeline, or if you group them by category, or if you even put numbers to them so you know how many there may be, that's going to help you remember them because it'll give you like 3 different pathways to remembering
You'll be
that
kind of seeing
information.
them in the wild rather than just staring at them.
Right,
over and over.
right.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Really quickly, because we only have about like 20 seconds left.
Sure.
Is there anything you would say for a student writing a long essay? What do you think, or what do you look for? What do professors look for in a final paper? Like, what should students really make sure they have?
Make sure that you have really strong support and that your insight about the topic is concise and deep. So that's what I would say in short
that's
20
good.
seconds.
No, that's 20 seconds. Thank you so much, Angie Hoover,
Yes.
for taking
Well,
the time
thank you.
visiting
It's
us.
lovely to be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So a few months back, Moorpark College introduced a new sort of certificate of achievement that you students can earn or apply for midway through their major. And this one is for technical support specialists. So today we brought in Edmond Garcia, who is a computer network systems engineering faculty. That has a lot to say without tripping over my words. Welcome to the show, Edmond Garcia.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. Thanks for the opportunity to share about this opportunity.
Thank you so much for coming. So how long have you been at Moorpark College?
I've been here for 16 years at Moorpark College, and I had a 20-year career in the IT profession prior to Moorpark.
So pretty experienced.
So, I would say so, yes. And I still love what I do. That's
Really?
the amazing part.
Well, that's the key.
That's
blessing.
the best part.
That's where we're all trying to get to. So what kind of classes do you teach? What skills will students glean from your classes?
Well, in my particular program, a lot of our courses are aligned with the job market, particular skills that employers want. For example, some of our courses are like a Security Plus. I teach that course, so it's the basics of security. I have Network Plus, the basics of networking. And then we have some more advanced courses that deal with more specialized equipment
And
like
this is
routers.
computer networking,
This is
computer
all
security.
computer networking, yes. Yeah. And as you know, in the 21st century, I think we moved. I tell my students we moved towards a literacy in terms of computer technology literacy. That's where we're at today in the 21st century. And so, no matter what type of work you do, the more you know about computers, network, and technical systems, the better your career is going to be.
Even in journalism, that's pushed all day. Yeah.
Yes.
So what's interesting about the Certificate of Achievement specifically, in whatever major you can find one, is that they only require 17 to around 21 units, and that's something you can get midway through your career here at Moorpark to have some sort of official certification, I guess, for employers to look at.
That's exactly right. So you can take a few of these courses, and you can either apply for a job like at a help desk position and at an entry level. You can continue taking courses at Moorpark in another major, for example, or continue in this particular major, and all the while you're going to school, you're advancing in your own career. So one of my biggest problems I have, believe it or not, is I have students who start in the program, and a year and a half into their education, all of a sudden they land this job, a high-paying job, and they're at a crossroads. My gosh, should I stop going to school so I can go to this new job full-time, or should I stay in school? So the opportunities are there. and by just taking a few courses, you can get the training as a help desk entry level position.
Yeah, I think that's a really good opportunity for students to take advantage of who maybe need to be working at the same time. Your education can immediately sort of contribute to that. That's really important. What kind of jobs would this certificate specifically kind of give you access to?
Well, for example, that's a great question. Like, for example, last Tuesday night at about 7 o'clock, I was preparing for class, and I had a knock on my door, okay? And I had a student come to see me. He was working at a factory. He had started at Moorpark 7 years ago, gave up on school, got a horrible job, and decided to come back. Took a few of my courses. He took literally 3 courses, ended up landing a job in Ventura County at the edge towards Santa Barbara area, so it's in the border of Santa Barbara and Ventura County, as a test bed. He tests equipment that they're going to ship out to an organization. His job is to test the equipment. He was telling me that a year before he started the program, he was making $13 an hour. Today, 1 year later, after taking 3 courses, he's making $26 an hour.
Wow.
And he was telling me how much this program changed his life. So,
well, you just heard all of us react at the same time.
It's great. I mean, for me, it's very fulfilling when I see those opportunities, because he was married, raising 2 kids, and so it can be a life-changing experience for him in particular.
That's a windfall.
And we have a lot of stories along that line. We have 2 of our graduates are right now working at Microsoft, working on premier projects, and they're project managers working on big things for Microsoft, and those are 2 of our graduates.
So there's a lot of call for this.
This is the program to get involved in, for sure.
Well, like I was saying, this is the 21st century, and the more, if you love computers, oh my gosh, this would be anything computer related. I think if you did computer science or anything technology, if you enjoy technology and you're willing to embrace it, financially the rewards are there, is what I'm saying.
So what major would you end up with if you wanted to pursue this?
Well, we have an AS degree in computer networking systems engineering.
Okay.
And then you could advance after that. I have had students that come from the computer science side of the house, and then they'll come into my program. And I've had students who actually finish my program and then decide, you know what? 2 years ago, technology was too difficult for me, but I've become a better student. I can handle my coursework better. I'm going to actually pursue computer science. And so they continue into other areas. And so, no matter what, I think there's a lot of opportunities, whether it's computer science, multimedia, gaming, computer networking. Those are all related. They all overlap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's plenty of opportunity really anywhere with anything that does with computer. Everything does with computers now. So, I mean, what are some other just jobs people might, if you're, let's say you're interested in, I don't know, doing website design.
Well, that's a great question. I mean, there's just so much opportunity, but I think for website design, the big issue right now would be, yes, the visual appearance is critical, but guess what? The security aspect of it. So security right now on the job market is intense. We're having the technology industry in general is really challenged by the amount of security problems. So companies, small businesses, school districts, police officers, they're all, when they do investigations, how do you do the chain of custody? How do you handle identity theft? So there's a lot of crime going on, and the criminals themselves are using technology, and they're trying to outsmart the good guys. So police departments, the FBI, all these intelligence agencies are hiring IT graduates. Corporations like Amgen, the Ventura County, they're also hiring IT people because they need to maintain the digital infrastructure and they have to keep it safe and secure from the bad guys. Like ransomware is proliferating everywhere. Malware is everywhere. Viruses are everywhere. So these are ongoing problems that are not easily resolved, and they literally need to have a team of people, security professionals that are experts that can mitigate a lot of those problems.
It sounds like there's plenty of call for this, so any students who are interested in either just pursuing a love of computers or just in general getting a good job, this might be the program for you. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Edmond Garcia.
Oh, sure. You're welcome. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the enlightening questions.
Thank you.
You are listening to 101.5 KMCJ Moorpark College Jams. I'm Steven Suarez, and this is the Student Voice on Air, a program about what's trending here at Moorpark College. Let's turn it to Andrew for the latest updates on the Moorpark College campus sports.
Thank you, Steven. So this is a kind of a weird portion of the semester of the school year for our Moorpark sports. We're kind of in the transition period between all the fall semester sports we're taking a look ahead at the spring semester sports. But let's do a quick recap. It was a pretty awesome fall semester for our Raiders sports teams. Our football team made it to the first bowl game in 6 years, where the team was able to grab the big win against SPCC in that unforgettable Beach Bowl. Women's soccer won their second straight Western State Conference title. Men's soccer finished the season 5-10-4, which isn't too amazing, but it is a huge step up from last year's 2-15-2 overall record. Women's volleyball had their awesome playoff run that was just recently ended, and both men's and women's cross country finished respectively in state championships. Right now we have our men's and women's basketball teams off to some solid starts, with most of their action coming next semester. And speaking of next semester, here's some sports that all of our Moorpark College students can look forward to. Men's and women's track and field, softball, baseball, men's volleyball, wrestling, and of course, continuing from their current success, men's and women's basketball. So Francisco, I know you're going to be here next year. What sport are you looking forward to the most for spring semester?
I gotta say, women's basketball.
Yeah?
I feel like they're gonna have a really solid, successful season. I don't know. I just get this like vibe from the women's team that they're just gonna.
I feel
they're gonna have a good season, good overall record. I believe they're gonna go over 500. Also, our men's baseball.
Baseball, and that's a team that it was actually reinstated. It was cut after budget cuts for a few years, and last season was the first season back. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of almost rebuilding the program up. Personally, I'm most excited for track and field. My good friend Austin Planbeck. This is gonna be his first season on the track team. I know he's really excited. I'm excited to hear about his success. It's going to be fun. What about wrestling, Francisco? Are you a wrestling fan?
I'm not the biggest wrestling fan, but sports guy gotta like all the sports. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I know that wrestling, especially in college, is really competitive and really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's not WWE wrestling where it's kind of
right. It's the more
staged.
Traditional wrestling with the mats and the points and all those like rules added on.
Exactly.
Not really entertainment, but more of a sport.
So all the sports writers over at the Student Voice are going to have a great time next semester. So heading back into some sports right now, I know that our men's basketball team just finished up a tournament at Grossmont College. Francisco, what could you tell me about that?
Solid weekend for our men's basketball team. So they went into action this past weekend, December 2nd through the 4th, at Grossmont College. So the guys, our men's team, found some success, coming away with a 2-1 overall record.
All right, 2 wins, 1 loss. Not bad.
Yeah, their overall record stands at 4 wins, 5 losses.
Just under 500.
Yeah,
huh?
so just bumped it up a little bit. So the Raiders grabbed game 1 against Palomar, 65-62, and a nail-biting win. Yeah, only winning by 3 points. Behind Damian Wilson's Jr.'s 15 points and 7 rebounds, along with Caden Young and his 15 points with 3 threes in the game.
Ooh, a little Steph Curry action going there?
Yeah, or actually Klay Thompson,
Exactly.
after last night.
60-point game.
Yeah. The second game, they didn't find any success. They lost against San Diego, 81-56. That was all San Diego's game, but left on a good note in their third game, beating LA Southwest behind Luis Herrera's 25 points and the team's 52% from three-point shooting.
Ooh.
Overall, 13-25 behind the arc.
52%, that's awesome, because I remember talking about men's basketball earlier in the season when they were struggling from the three-point line. So it's awesome to know that they're kind of finding the rhythm.
Yeah, you're going to have those games where your shots are going in. Point guard Larry Williams was honored as all-tournament in this past tournament. Solid tournament for this team and in need of some good wins.
Mm-hmm.
Get that momentum going.
Standing at 4-5, that's awesome. 4-5, even though it's below 500, it's close. It's close to that mark you want to be at.
Yeah, and one thing about this game was that with this tournament was that you hear a lot of different names. Usually it's 1 or 2, maybe even 3 players that always stand out. But, everyone did their part in this tournament, and I believe that's why they came out successful. Their next game will take place at the Cypress College Tournament. That begins on Thursday, December 8th at 4 o'clock p.m. So best of luck to our men's basketball team.
All right. Thank you, Francisco. Now transitioning over to our women's basketball team. They're off to a hot start. They're 7-5 right now. Just finished up a tournament at Santa Ana this past weekend, December 1st through 3rd. Just like the men's team, the women were able to go 2-1, defeating Consumnes River and West Hills, finally losing in the final game in a double overtime thriller against Bakersfield. Some highlights of the tournament: Vanessa DeSimone of Moorpark College scored 25 points, grabbing 7 rebounds in the final loss to Bakersfield. But it was DeSimone's clutch 3-point shooter with 2 seconds left in regulation that forced overtime. Then in overtime, her clutch free throws forced the double overtime. Unfortunately, we weren't able to come away with the win, but Vanessa DeSimone was able to grab all tournament honors.
This is 101.5 KMCJ Moorpark College Jams. I'm Steven Suarez, and this is the Student Voice on Air. Here's Casey with entertainment news.
Thanks, Steven, for the last time. This is our last podcast for the semester, and we're going to be wrapping up entertainment with just a few events coming up in the PAC. We have the Jazz Band presenting All About Jazz on Saturday, December 10th at 8 p.m. We have the Wind Ensemble presenting music for a Sunday afternoon on Sunday, December 11th at 2 p.m.
Ooh, on a Sunday, how convenient.
Yep. And then dance, the dance department is presenting Evening of Dance on Wednesday, December 14th at 7 p.m. So if you didn't catch any of the PAC shows this semester, you still have 3 that you can catch. So enjoy. We also have Leslie and Steven kind of want to talk about some video game that I'm not too sure about.
Steven, you and I are just going to have a lively discussion
Is
debate.
it Call of Duty? Well, what video
No, we're
game
talking
is
about Final
this?
Fantasy, everybody.
15.
It was announced
15?
10 years ago.
Can you believe that?
You just couldn't stop after 12? Like, or
12 was
13?
12 was all right.
12 was good. Yeah, it was announced 10 years ago. It finally came out just last week.
I'm like, it's starting to blow my mind. Like
I
the
was
10 years thing,
13.
because the PlayStation 3 came out when?
2006.
2006. So it's been, jeez,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it was announced alongside 13. And they're like, yeah, it's gonna be called Versus 13. It's gonna be like the side story, and then it just like spiraled into
Wait,
obscurity.
this video game specifically
Yes.
was announced
10 years
10
ago.
years
10 years
ago?
ago.
Yeah.
How are you just not like, oh my gosh, 10 years from now? That is so long.
They didn't say it was going to come out. They wanted it to come out the next year.
Yeah.
They just kept getting delayed.
Gameplay
Some
demos and
hiccups.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay, well, for people like me who don't really know much about this game, what's it about?
So basically,
Well,
imagine a world of fantasy.
Okay.
Okay.
And then wait. Now I'm good.
And then, there's a finality to your decisions.
Okay.
so if you're familiar with video games, look, you've probably seen, even if you don't know what Final Fantasy is, you've undoubtedly seen Final Fantasy somewhere. It's one of those franchises that's so prolific. Even though this one's called 15, it is not the 15th one. There are hundreds of these games.
Jeez.
There
How
are
often does it come out?
Oh my God. What, like
Well,
tons
10
of
years.
Yeah. So this game specifically took 10 years, but there have been other Final Fantasy games like Brave Excelsius or whatever on iPhone.
Yeah.
Record Keeper 6 months ago.
Dissidia.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, there's a ton of these games. Even if you don't know what Final Fantasy is, you've seen it. It is the big, expensive, blockbuster fantasy game.
So it's this big franchise.
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
huh?
But
Okay.
it's also like the pinnacle of the original RPG back in the day.
Yeah.
It really set the standard for, this is what an RPG looks like.
What is RPG, role-playing game?
Role-playing
Yeah.
game. Yeah. So like your standard knights, swords, fairies,
Okay.
dragons, like Final Fantasy and Dungeons and Dragons were the things that kind of defined that in the
Ooh,
80s.
okay, so we're dealing with a legend
Right.
franchise here then.
But now things are a little bit different. Now Final Fantasy is about driving cars around the desert and going to truck stops.
Hey, now, that's not what this game is about.
That's what it feels
This
like.
game is about the bond of brotherhood between a boy band.
Oh yeah, they are a boy band. They
So,
are.
in your opinion, how has Final Fantasy been able to keep up with the competition? Or have they been a little behind?
It hasn't, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll agree with you. It really hasn't kept up, and there's a lot of things that I'd like for them to have done, especially with 10 years of preparation that they didn't do. But, I mean, at the same time,
There's 15's weird, man. 15 is like, it's so much of a product of 10 years ago. Many of its mechanics are so antiquated. Nowadays, when you play an RPG, there's just so much innovation in how you complete objectives, how you use combat, how you travel the world. This feels so last generation of you have to walk all the way to the destination. When you complete a mission, you have to walk back to the person who gave it to you and tell them. Like,
now,
that's just so
the argument
frustrating.
The
and
argument
old.
there, though, is that's an intentional choice. Because there is fast travel options. Yeah, you got to get back to your car.
But you have to go through three loading
and then
screens
the loading screen
before
is
you
terrible.
get there.
But is the intention for you not to do that and for you to have to play
that's what I'm
out those
thinking.
moments?
That's what I'm thinking, is that the intention of the game, every part of it, like the driving your car through the world, having to run to each shopkeeper, having to stop at these specific points, because the game is open world, you have all this space to run around, but there isn't a ton to do in that space. You can run around the open plain fields, but it's not like you're going to find a cave or a man or anything like that. You're just kind of...
Well, you can find people.
You'll
be walking around and someone will say, help, and you'll find them.
Yeah, but...
So literally the entire
if listeners have
interaction
played
with
something
the
like
person.
Skyrim, like when you get an objective in Skyrim and a person tells you, I need you to walk to the place over there and talk to this man. When you get that objective, you're excited because you know that on that walk there, you're going to run into stuff.
Yeah.
Then it becomes about the journey rather than the destination of going and doing this, what I call fetch quests. Final Fantasy 15 is just the fetch quest.
Now, to kind of turn something you said earlier on its head, you're talking about fast traveling everywhere. I know when I played Skyrim and I finally got the potential to just fast travel everywhere because I've been places. That's what I would do when I would get quests. It wasn't so much me, okay, I'm all the way over here, now I have to walk this way, and I can find all these things along the way. That's the initial trek. But after that point, never really did that again. You kind of know what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I understand, but I guess maybe we just play games differently. I feel like the fun of an RPG, or especially maybe just an open world game, is that in that space that the game gives you to wander around and explore, there are things for you to find. So fast travel kind of defeats the purpose of you just like, oh, well, I have to be over in this location, so I'm just going to use a teleporter and get over there. When you have an open world, developers should use that space to fill it with things to explore and find. You should be compelled to wander around, not feel like it's a chore.
Yeah,
And
not
that's
just walking around boring. There should be stuff for you to do.
Well, hang on a second. When you're riding Chocobo and the music is playing...
Ugh, I hate that music. I hate that music. It's so boring.
It started fading on me like the 50th time.
If you guys haven't heard it, it's like this ragtag bluegrass monstrosity, and it just plays nonstop forever as long as you're riding this freaking bird. And it just, oh god, it's the worst.
So what's the whole point? What's the objective?
what's
what's
like
the end
like
goal
what's
of
a
the game?
plot of the game, like a storyline?
Yeah.
Brotherhood, and I think that is like, and I know I said that earlier, but that is like was their goal of this game.
He's making a good point because the game starts you out immediately with this group of 3 people that you don't know anything about them, but everything you do, you never leave them behind. They're always with you. They're always talking with you. They're always sharing them your objectives. Every night when you're finishing your objectives for the day, you go and stay in a hotel together, and you share pictures that you took all day. It's all about building that bond. It feels like a road trip game.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like those moments of like, oh, this is the moment where Gladio and I took a picture at the gas station with the plastic bird. Like, that's fun. Those little tchotchke moments are interesting. But I feel like in between those moments, it's just
and I feel like
endless filler, and it drives me insane.
Those feelings that you were just talking about is what the intention of the game was.
And when it works, it works.
And when it works, it works.
Yeah. But when it doesn't, it's
but we'll
hollow.
See. I think it's fun. Is it my favorite thing in the world? No, but...
You see the Square Enix CEO as a secret boss?
No.
Yeah.
We need to move on.
So our Moorpark College Forensics team just had their fall championships at Orange Coast College, as well as the Forensic Showcase here at Moorpark College in the PAC. And with us, not only do we have Steven Suarez, our host, who's on the Forensics team, but we also have Ryan Skolnick and Bailey Garcia, who are members as well. And you guys performed on the 29th at the Showcase. Could you guys kind of tell us a little bit about that, how it was?
Was really fun. We didn't really know what to expect. We showed up in competitive garb and we went up there. I do a limited prep thing, so I got introduced early and then went off to do my prep, and unfortunately I didn't get to see Bailey, who I heard was absolutely phenomenal.
Maybe we should introduce what forensics is, because I've met a lot of people and told them about the forensics team, and they've asked whether it's a crime scene investigation.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is the forensics team?
Well, forensics, from what I've heard incessantly from one of our coaches, is a play on a Greek word for to seek the truth or something. So you have debate, which is primarily what I do, where you have competitions and you're actually debating, and then you have speech, where you're presenting either a drama, a book, or an informative or a persuasive, and that's what Bailey does over there.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do mostly the interp category, so that's all of the acting type ones. So you take either like a book or a play, and there are different categories, and you cut them down to 10 minutes and perform it. So I did at the showcase a piece called Shrill, and it's all about body image, and so it was really wonderful. I had a bunch of people come up to me afterwards, and it's beautiful that I can like reach people in that way. It's great.
That's really nice to be able to like speak publicly, because I mean I know some people have like strong fears of that. And have you guys always been strong public speakers? Have you always viewed yourself as that?
Yes, I've been acting since I was 5, and I was, a little squirrel in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I would like jump out and improv lines, and my director would get mad at me, but I loved talking in front of people.
I mean, I played Zazu in our school rendition of The Lion King when I was a kid, but other than that, I've never been much of an actor or anything. That's why I don't do any of the interp events, but I was always told that I don't know when to shut up. So I figured that this would be something I'd naturally be good at, and turned out that it allowed me to channel my never being able to shut up into something cool.
Ryan, what topics do you typically debate on? You say you debate for the team. What is that usually about?
It depends on what's relevant at the time. You had a lot of conversations about the state of the world now that we have our new president-elect, and you had Dakota Access Pipeline, which obviously we found out was solved the day after I had to debate about it, so that was cool. Maybe
they heard.
My limited prep event, because in speech I do what's called extemporaneous speaking. So basically you get the same kind of topics, but instead of debating, you just talk about them, give a 7-minute speech, you have half an hour to prepare. So whatever's relevant at the time, I'd say, is really what you discuss.
So how did you guys get involved in the team in the first place? Is this your first time on the team or what?
Yeah, this is my first year. I came to one of the showcases last year, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah, they're fun, huh?
Yeah, no, I loved it. And I did speech in middle school, and I absolutely fell in love with it. My parents actually met doing speech and debate in high school, and so they're like, oh, you're going to do this now. And so I was kind of destined for it, and I came on the team, and I wasn't recruited or anything, but I absolutely loved it and just kind of became part of it.
And fun fact, I am the only returning member of the team this year, so everybody else that's on the team this year, all 15 of the other people, I think, this is their first year competing.
Oh, okay.
Ryan competed at CLU for 3 years doing debate, so he's not new to forensics, but this is his first year on the team too.
Yeah, Jim Wyman, our coach, is basically a legend within the community. So
basically,
yeah. He's the epitome of one. So I was really excited when I went here to debate. I knew I was going to be on the team before I even enrolled in classes. So
what was debating at like a big event like the Fall Championships like with such a new team?
You guys did pretty good, right? Everybody broke in the finals?
Yeah, everyone in debate broke, and then
what
everyone
does that
on their
mean?
first
What does
elim.
broke mean?
So the way forensics works is there's preliminary rounds, and then after a certain number of preliminary rounds, they'll take your scores and tally them up, and then they'll take a portion of those people and they will break into either bronze rounds, and then after bronze rounds, there'll be silver gold rounds.
Okay.
And so all of our teams at Fall Champs for debate broke into those final rounds.
Oh, I see.
So it was pretty
Congratulations.
awesome.
That's very nice.
Yeah, we had one team, our junior team, that got gold, and then myself, I was on the open team, and then as well our novice team, we all got silver.
Wow. That's pretty impressive for a first-time team.
Yeah.
At a college level, though. Mm-hmm. That's very impressive. Do you hope to continue speaking in a 4-year?
Well, I went backwards, so this is my last year of eligibility.
Wow, so you guys actually have eligibility for the debate team?
Generally, you have 2 years of community college, and then you do 2 years in 4-year. But since I started in a 4-year, I kind of went backwards, so this is my only eligible year.
What about you?
Yeah, I would love to. I want to be a theater major. I'm actually 16. I'm still in high school, so
wow.
I'm
That's ridiculous.
I'm, figuring out
Oh my God, I'm a
Getting
false
ahead of the
one.
game,
getting
huh?
ahead of the game.
I love it.
So yeah, no, I would love to if it fits with everything. I'm like starting to really go like, oh, this is something I could see myself, coaching or doing something
Nice.
with this with my life.
And Stephen, what about you? I know that you have some plans at the next level.
Yeah, I'm actually talking to a few schools right now. I'm talking to Concordia and Irvine, Eastern Michigan University, and hopefully going to start talks with Alabama University pretty soon here to get scholarships and keep doing this on the 4-year level. So I'm super excited to see what the future holds.
Dang, good luck,
Work
Stephen.
there for the future of all of you. Thank you so much for coming in and speaking with us, showing off your skills to the radio audience.
Thank you for inviting
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Cool,
you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
This is 101.5 KMCJ Moorpark College Jams. I'm Steven Suarez, and this is the Student Voice on Air. Coming up is the roundtable discussion, and a little bit somber, a little bit bittersweet. This is going to be our kind of recap about what the year's been like and what are we looking at going forward here. So, Leslie, you want to take it away?
No.
He's
I don't want.
sad.
This
that
is a
it's our
sad.
last
I want
one.
everyone to sigh collectively at the same time. Ready?
And really
Ready?
quick.
3, 2, 1. There we go.
Don't breathe on the mic. Don't breathe on the mic.
With us today, we do have special guests, Sun Lee, our producer, and America Castillo, who is
I'm the social media coordinator.
for the Student Voice.
Nice.
So these are two previously unheard student voices, and I'm actually really excited to have them both here, especially Sun, because Sun's been writing the podcast for, ages now.
Yeah.
Him and his team have done a really good job.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, I mean, I don't. People who've been listening to this podcast for the past 6 months, like Casey doesn't write any of this. I don't write any of this.
Thank goodness.
I sure don't write any of this.
I mean, I prepare interviews, I prepare questions, and so does Casey, and so does Francisco and Andrew. But like, Sun puts everything together. Sun gets the topics together. Sun gets the interviews together. Sun gets
Round of applause.
Yeah, Sun.
Shout out to my boy Andrew too. I think they split it half and half, if I'm
That's
not
true.
wrong.
Andrew does his fair share of the work
Thank
as
you.
well. yeah.
Thank you.
So I guess we just kind of wanted to sit for a few minutes. We have 12 minutes of fresh primetime radio air
Reminiscing.
to just reminisce about the Student Voice on Air, and the burning garbage fire that was 2016.
Yeah. Leslie, you and I are the two only original parts of this
Oh my God, really?
podcast. Yeah.
America was here.
But Casey
Casey was here.
I was
Casey was on
interview
off.
for one.
Yeah, for one interview.
Weren't you on it though, like more frequently than that? No, just
Just that one time.
It was you, myself, Kayla. I think we were the only consistent
Yeah,
ones.
and then we had a few people siphoning in and out.
Yeah, we had Frank on one time.
Yeah.
I don't think Augie ever came on, who was our previous editor-in-chief.
He came in on over the summer though.
Did he really?
Yeah,
Huh.
for one show.
Yeah, I wasn't here over the summer. Anyway, like it's been a real rotating group of people.
Yeah.
There really isn't like a consistent.
I mean, I wasn't even
face
here over the summer.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, neither was I.
So,
Yeah.
hey.
All right.
But
I
it's come a long way.
Yeah.
Comes a
Leslie, I
long
want to
way.
know, you're a seasoned veteran here. What's
Oh,
been your
God.
favorite moment on the Student Voice podcast?
Probably next Tuesday.
No, okay.
Come on.
Come on.
You gotta give us
You gotta
something.
talk about the
Yeah, give us
past
something.
today.
Favorite moment, like
Or favorite person we got to interview.
America's my favorite person.
Oh, thank you.
It's getting really sappy.
But I don't know. I think I felt really proud of our second print. Put a lot of work into that. The opinion articles that I just put up over the weekend were, I think, really strong for me, just because I finally got to write something. I did so much work designing pages and editing other people's work that I didn't get a whole lot of time this semester to really work on my own writing skills. So I was happy doing that. I don't know. I had a really fun time last semester with Kayla on this podcast. Kayla and I were really good on the radio together because we're both obnoxious.
We had Kayla on
It
here
was
once,
really
right?
fun to
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
handle.
so I, as much as I begrudgingly make fun of the Student Voice and myself and my fellow editors, Francisco's freaking out. Francisco's laughing like
I'm just
crazy.
laughing, dude. The memories we've had together, just hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I've grown as like a family, like especially with people who I've been with for a year, like Sun and Casey and America, and people here from last semester, like
Sniff.
I'm gonna cry.
the Fallen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've grown to meet them as like a second family. Like I rely on these people so much, and
That must be nice.
it's it's going to be weird going into January, going into my final semester at Moorpark, and thinking like, wow, I'm not going into the newsroom today. I'm not going to spend 5 hours in the newsroom today. I'm not going to meet up with the editors today. Like it's weird.
That's sad.
You get a
Yeah.
text message. Oh, I wonder what Casey wants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mom, when are you coming home?
Yeah, that's weird because my mom lives way away. I haven't seen my mom in ages. It's
Or even worse, you get a text from the next semester's editor. Leslie, we need your
gonna happen.
Oh my goodness.
It's gonna happen. The first month, Casey and I are gonna get messages from whoever's in charge of this.
I'm gonna be in Boston.
Oh, yeah.
No way.
Casey,
Yes.
I'm checking out.
Casey's running away.
Yep.
Now you guys both have had your ups and downs in this class.
What does that mean?
You know,
What would you define as my downs?
I think you
Everyone
definitely
has ups
know.
and downs, though.
What advice?
What are my downs?
What advice do you guys
Please
have?
list.
Oh, don't even get me started. I'm just kidding. What's some advice that you guys have for the next coming editor-in-chief and writers and people who are going to be on the podcast?
Oh my God.
Just something you wish they would have told you.
Pick a god and pray.
Gosh.
Honestly, like the best thing, especially for me having a great team behind me, is working together. So not putting the whole load on yourself and just working as a team.
You
Because
feel
honestly,
a lot of pressure being
I
a head
agree.
editor to really put everything you have into the position. And that's important to an extent because you do, like a lot of the student voice is held up by the head editors. And a lot of it requires that investment of like heavy, not just time, but like mental and emotional investment in making sure that you put out something you can be proud of. But it goes without saying that it's a team effort. And it couldn't be possible unless everyone really bands together and does their part. So I guess my advice would be grow with your team.
Yeah, learn to connect with each other.
Yeah.
Because then it makes going to class a lot more
Yeah,
fun.
when you mesh,
and writing these
yeah,
stories
you're
a
not-
lot more
You're
fun.
not going to class, you're visiting your friends or your family, and
Yeah.
you're becoming a team that's supportive of each other, not just in the classroom, but in social situations.
Yeah,
we
and
go
you-
out.
Yeah, you have to work everywhere you go in the future. You're going to work with people, so
Yeah.
you have to learn how to get along with them,
Right.
and I guess take yourself seriously, but also have time to just relax too and kind of joke around because it really seems maybe not a good time, but
Definitely.
it
I
matters.
really miss coming in and like
Yeah.
de-stressing with the whole. We're like, I hate that, Mr. Professor. Oh my god.
Definitely.
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's going to be like the hardest thing is like I've grown to know each one of you like as a friend. So especially like
I'm sure
not
everyone regrets meeting me. Everyone's, oh god, I can't wait to get away from that guy.
And so like not having you guys around and kind of not every day talking to you guys,
Yeah.
it's going to be kind of weird.
Yeah.
So you two, Francisco and Andrew, what did you guys
are your
learn?
highs and lows?
What did you guys learn out of this class that you guys can take somewhere else?
Well, okay, I wanna throw it back. First day of the class.
All right.
Me and Leslie. I meet Leslie, this blue-haired guy, a little lighter colored.
Yeah, it was like turquoise back then.
So
I
we
didn't like it. It
go
was
out,
bad.
and our task was to just interview people on their
Oh yeah,
summer.
I trained you
basically.
interviewing.
So you trained me, and the first person I saw, Francisco right here,
Yeah.
came up to me,
I
and I was like,
remember that.
"Dude, you got to get in this class, dude."
I had to talk to Joanna about an assignment
Yeah.
for the MO1 class.
Yeah, I remember running into you because you
and
were like, "Oh, how's that class?"
I was like,
"It's a
yo,
lot of
Andrew,
work,
what's
man. It's
up,
a lot
man?
of work."
How's that class? And Andrew's like, oh, dude, you need to take this. I was like, I can't, dude. It's not a UC transferable class because, you
UC transferable classes.
And then this was before like establishing what school I really wanted to go to. Anyways, Andrew's like, oh man, you got to go join this class. And all I see is Leslie like, no, don't, dude.
Did I say that?
You're just like, if you're joining this class, get ready to work.
That's what I
like
meant.
that.
Is like if you're going to join the student voice, like I think that's just important information for everyone out there. If you're joining the student voice, like be prepared that this is not just I'm going to come in for an hour and a half and
No, it's
get my
an actual
lecture.
program.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot of work outside the class.
Really do
Literally
have to
moments
work.
later, I met Casey.
Yeah.
She was sitting down, and I was like, "What kind of room is this, man? Like,
It's
all
a lot
these-
of work.
These nice computers and stuff. Maybe that's what got me."
But something I'm really happy about joining
very
the student
personally
voice.
satisfying. It was just like it's a lot of work, but it is like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like, oh man,
Self-rewarding. Yeah.
Yeah,
look at this-
exactly.
look at
It
this
is
thing in my
self-rewarding.
hand.
So
Like,
what
oh,
were you
yeah.
It's a
gonna
lot
say,
of
Andrew?
work, but fulfilling work.
Yeah.
So basically, next semester I'll be doing journalism. That's the major I want to pursue. And so just having this experience under my belt, it really helps. And I definitely encourage people to join if that's a major they even want to just try.
That's something I really encourage about the journalism program is that, you come to Moorpark College, you study, I don't know, nursing. You study math, you study German.
Animals.
Yeah, at the zoo, like all these things. Well, the zoo's not a good example, but journalism is interesting because there's a platform for you to come in, take your classes,
And try it out.
and then do it. Actually apply everything you've learned rather than just going out into the world and saying, okay, I've taken these classes. I have this piece of paper that says I've taken these classes, but I haven't done the work yet.
Yeah.
The student voice is your opportunity to do the work and really test whether or not A, you've learned anything, or B, you are committed enough to do this. And I think if you survive 6 months of student voice, or a year, or like in Sun's case, a year and a half, it's a pretty good indication that maybe this is something you can pursue.
Yeah, this is stuff you can put on your resume, you guys.
Yeah, I
Like,
remember-
making this portfolio. It's gonna look good.
It is, and also the podcast. Like I had no idea we had a new.
We didn't.
We didn't until a year ago.
Okay, well, like coming in as
welcome.
a
this is our
freshman,
first
they never
semester,
like
so-
told me. I barely knew about the journalism
Well,
department.
looks
Yeah.
like
So
we gotta do
there's
something about
definitely a lot of opportunities for whoever wants to come in here, and it's good because we're not all trying to stay here. We're trying to go to 4-year. So this is stuff you can write down for your college apps that will help you in the long run.
Yeah, and it's also important too, like especially with you guys talking about, you're not going to be sure if this is actually what you want to do your whole life. Like Leslie was saying, even if you get the paper and you go out into the real world, if you discover at that point that this isn't something you want to do, that's
a really bad point
good.
to discover that.
Yeah.
You do not want to walk out of college with your bachelor's degree and say like, yeah, I've done it. I'm ready. Oh, no. Like, you don't want that.
And as I've said before, I wrote for the Student Voice 2 years ago.
Oh, man.
My very second semester here, I wrote for the paper. And actually, Leslie was in my MO2 class for journalism, and I met Sun the very next semester. But I found out at the end of that, wow, this is not really what I anticipated. And for me, it was something where it was a good thing in the sense that I found out, this isn't necessarily the route I want to take to do this. I still want to write. I still want to do all these things.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved the Student Voice. Writing on it was really a great experience, and the classes are good. But that's the whole purpose of
Yeah.
Moorpark College, I think.
Yeah.
Is that,
Yeah.
get these opportunities.
Yeah,
So
I think it's a great
looking
it's,
back,
it's a really
that's
great
the best thing I've done.
indication point of like, maybe this is a good demarcation of, am I going the correct way? The Student Voice is not only, a platform for you to learn that, but it's also a platform to learn the skills that, because like, you take a class on anything and you learn this is how it's supposed to be done. But when you apply it in an actual workspace, there's like, this is how it's actually done. This is how it needs to be done every day. This is what the workflow is like. When you have the opportunity to see what working is actually like, you end up learning a lot more than you do in just a classroom setting because you're doing the work rather than just learning about the work. So anyway, that's our promotion for the Student Voice, which we somehow worked into our reminiscent part.
So looking forward, what's everyone doing? What's everyone doing next semester?
Sunleaf.
Going home.
Well, I'm transferring to Cal State Northridge next semester.
He's gonna become their mascot is a vaquero?
Matador.
Matador.
Yeah, Matador.
What was the first thing you just
Vaquero,
said?
that's SBCC.
Vaquero. It's
like a cowboy.
They look a
It's
lot
another
alike.
type of
That's why.
They
Mexican
do.
cowboy.
What about you, Leslie? What's the next step
After Moorpark,
after Moorpark?
plans are in motion to put me in Tokyo for,
Right.
for 2 years.
Yeah.
At Waseda.
And he's not talking about Little Tokyo in Los Angeles.
I love it.
He's
I love
talking
Little
about the
Tokyo.
big one.
Yeah, Big Tokyo.
America.
Big trouble in Big Tokyo because Leslie's coming to town.
America, what about you?
I'll be heading to North Carolina for like 3 months, and then if everything works out with money and stuff, then I can go to Cambodia and live there for 2 months, and then I'll be back for next fall.
So some traveling
Nice.
over on your end.
What about our editor-in-chief, Casey Ahern?
I'm going to be going to Boston in January. I'm going to Berklee College of Music to study vocal performance and music business management, and hopefully you guys will see me on tour someday.
Yeah.
Well, I just started.
People will recognize your voice.
So
Instantly.
I'll be.
Oh, I remember her. She was on the Student Voice on air.
Yeah, so because it's such a broad audience.
I still have a solid time left here at Moorpark. It's my first semester, but hopefully stay on track in these 2 years and get out of here and go to that school that's meant for me to go to.
I
And,
said that once. Just kidding. Go.
And I was able to do the old one and done here at Moorpark, 1 semester, and out I'll be transferring with Casey over to Boston, but Boston University, doing journalism. So I'm excited.
And how about you, Steven?
I talked about it a little bit earlier in our interview with the forensics team. I'm talking to a few schools, so either Eastern Michigan, Alabama, or Concordia. I mean, I applied to some CSUs, but let's be real here. I'd love to get out of state, but I don't know. I don't really know what the future holds.
Probably
that's
more
what's exciting about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Super exciting.
You know what's cool? We're going to be able to look back at this podcast, this one specific roundtable, and be like, man, what I know now, what I wish I would have known
Yeah.
right when that
Oh, so
podcast
clueless.
ended.
So this time
Oh my
next
gosh. Like,
year,
yeah,
come
right.
back.
What was
We'll
I
do where were you?
And as we do have to wrap up our last podcast this semester, I just want to say thank you to all of you here. And
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Stephen.
Thank you to
for
our
sticking
lovely
around.
engineers.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Caleb and
Caleb.
Raul. Couldn't do this without you guys. I know, I'm just the pretty voice here, and that's debatable.
Do you want to thank our who's the
And thank you to the advisors,
Yeah.
Jason Beaton for FTVM and Is it Mike or Joanna?
Joanna Miller.
Joanna Miller
for
this
the
semester.
Student Voice. Mike's there too. He helps out.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. You guys
Thanks, everybody.
You guys all do a great job.
Dude, I remember my first podcast. I can
Blast.
barely speak. I was like,
It's scary.
yeah,
And
it is.
Look at
it
how
is.
comfortable you are now. You've achieved
That's
so
just because
much.
Andrew.
Steven needs to end the podcast now.
See, sometimes we just don't learn.
You know, it's a learning experience.
That's a great way to end the podcast. Sometimes we just don't learn. Thanks for listening.
And as always, thank you, Leslie Kivett, Casey Ahern, Francisco Molina, and Andrew Mason for keeping us informed. This has been the Student Voice on Air, a radio show and podcast written, hosted, edited, and produced by journalism and FTVM media students at Moorpark College. For additional news and information, please log on to the Student Voice webpage at Student Voice Online. That's Student Voice Online. I'm Steven Suarez, and thank you for listening and being informed. This is 1015 KMCJ, Moorpark College Jams.
Woo!